are allowed to marry and be with as many women as possible.
Go ye into the world and multiply.
Exactly.
One man can impregnate 12 women every month, or even 20.
So
but one woman cannot do
birth
that.
control is made for the wrong people then.
I think every society has their own kind of deity or ancestral beliefs that puts them in a certain check and balances.
It's not always guilty people that confess. Sometimes the torture,
it just ignites fear in them, and everybody's in check because they are scared.
What about the ones that even still do it even after having that oath?
Maybe that's out of passion.
Welcome to the ForgeCast. So today we're actually going to Idoma land in north central Nigeria. And Idoma culture is very, very interesting. There's actually this culture that we found interesting when we're doing some research, and it's called Aleku. It's the veneration of ancestors. And Aleku is used to put people in check. You know, it's for justice, for crime and punishment, and just communal well-being. Now, the most interesting part of that is the adultery aspect, you know, and the adultery aspect only really deals with the woman. Like it says, okay, if a woman is adulterous, these are the things that will happen. You know, there have to be purification rituals and things like that, just to cleanse the community and bring about peace. Now, my question is to you guys: why is there a question of, you know, infidelity, and it's only concerns the woman? You know, because two people are in a marriage, right?
Thank you very much. I was about to ask the same question.
Two people are in a marriage, but for some reason, adultery only concerns the woman. There's no, when a man is adulterous, this is the result. So, yeah, what's up with that?
The woman is the treasure. The woman is special. The woman is the nurturer in a community.
Preach.
So you need to protect her by any means necessary. And that is why it seems like in most cultures, women are, you know, somehow protected. Women are somehow, there are some certain things put in society that would make sure she doesn't overstep her boundary. Because, for example, a woman just doesn't just cater to herself alone. She caters to the children, her husband, the community, her family, and so on and so forth. Now, if that particular unit gets corrupt, it affects every other thing. Now, in this particular context, Aleku, if you look at it critically, it actually affects the male child or even the husband at the end of the day. You, the woman who is the adulterous one, or maybe had an affair somewhere, the way it works, the first thing that happens to you is that your first male child would have to pay the price. So you see, in a way, if you look at it technically, it's still somehow protecting the woman until she confesses. Then maybe the Aleku will now carry out its full action or wrath on her. So technically, in every society, men value their women. So that's why there are some checks and balances put in place in protecting them.
And I would even say, like, from a biological standpoint, I understand why lots of cultures have rules against women's adultery, because if your woman is, you know, sleeping with other men, how do you know that that child is yours? But, like, you know, so I think it's a way to protect the lineage, to make sure that all the children born into a family, this is the person who fathered them. Because really, it's only a woman that knows who the father of her child is, you know, and all of that.
Okay, so my brain is going that what if we saying that the Aleku only applies to women is just a human interpretation to how the God works. What if a man is cheating and things are happening, they're like, oh, they just see that, oh, this guy is suffering. But if it happens to a woman, they say, oh, she's cheating. So I feel like it could be just human interpretation. Because what does the God have to gain, and why is he in favor of just men? That is a question we should also be asking. Maybe
men are the priests, the keepers of the religion,
and maybe they'll hear it and just come and interpret it.
But also the culture, because according to that culture and their worldview, there's no such thing as a cheating man. because men are allowed to marry and be with as many women as possible.
Go ye into the world and multiply.
Exactly. So according to that culture, nothing like a cheating man. So of course, there's only a rule for a cheating woman.
I would agree.
Yes, that's their worldview.
You know, another way to look at it, right? It's also possible that the reason why maybe, quote unquote, the gods will not want to term it as cheating men is because at the end of the day, maybe if the guy goes out or the man or the father gets a child from another community, he brings that child into his community, increasing his clan, maybe getting more warriors, more farmers, more maybe herbalists or whatever it is you want to call it. So for the man, it's a plus because it is assumed that the man is the head, the leader, and thereby, if he goes about sowing his raw oats left, right, and center, he's getting more people to add to his
Isn't
clan.
the woman also getting more people?
Yes, she's not carrying
Aside, the thing is this, right? You see this. There's this thing they say about men and women. One man can impregnate 12 women every month, or even 20.
So
but one woman cannot do
birth
that.
control is made for the wrong people then.
It's not
For
about
the
that.
wrong gender.
You know,
the people that go about
God,
sowing their seeds everywhere, they should be on control because we can only, keep a pregnancy for 9 months.
Yeah.
You see, the thing is, right? Let us not look at this current thing and this
With
current day
modern eyes.
generation. We're looking at it with ancient eyes. Because back in the day, the strength of any family was, I have 15 children. I have 20
So
children.
why not take the children that your wife is giving you, even if they're not yours?
But see, the thing is that it will
Yes.
take 9 months for the woman to give him a
True,
child, but
sha.
the father can go and have
okay,
20.
I see the point you're
You get what I'm saying?
Yes,
So the father can go impregnate 20
I
women
see.
and bring
then
them in.
You needed farmers and warriors a lot back in the day because your neighbors are trying to kill you, enslave you, steal your
Facts.
farm produce and
Yeah.
things like that. So yes, I get. So the population needed to be increasing. It's true. So from a biological standpoint, men needed to sow their royal oats. But I think now population is getting out of hand in the world. So you guys can calm down now. Yeah, you guys can calm down.
To be very honest, I disagree with Mr.
G.
When it comes to the fact that the men valued their women, they are nurturers, they are this, that. So what were the men doing if they are that too? Because everybody has their own value.
Yes.
So I feel that they had no reason to act in that way or bring that rule to the
Like
clan.
I said,
I hope you
it's
guys
just-
know you guys are looking at this from the Western point of view, not the African context. Because what I'm hearing now is feminism. I'm hearing about let us go back to the real African way of doing things, where a fellow wife is even welcomed. She's glad to welcome another woman from
I
another
beg
community.
you, I don't know
to
about
say-
that.
But now, right about now, what I hear is modern feminism. Let's go back to the Aleku and look at how it brought justice, how it brought some level of sanity, how it brought control, and putting the society generally morally upright.
The society or the women?
Yeah, I'm sure
Not
exactly
society.
had
No,
its
aside.
benefits.
Exactly.
No,
The society or the women?
You're getting it wrong.
Did it protect marriages or
The
oppress men?
Thank you.
The
Please help
Aleku.
me.
You should understand that the
Feminists, calm down.
Aleku. We should understand that the Aleku is not just the adulterous part is just one aspect. It brings about justice as well. Like, let me even take this back to my own, my own tribe.
Okay.
I am from Edo State. I am from Akoko Edo local government area. And from my own tribe, we are called the Afemai. Now, in my own particular place, there are deities and there are ancestors that protect. Maybe it's my Aleku of my own people. Now, when anybody dies, there's always a ritual they do because back then and even till date, there's always a science about the mystical world. If anybody dies, they might feel
Like
maybe
it's not
somebody
natural.
bewitched them and all of that.
Yeah.
So they go to this deity or to this oracle and do some incantation, and that person will confess. The spirit will wake up and say, "This was the person that killed me." And before you know, that person who's
Sounds so
responsible
scary.
for that person who's responsible for that will start confessing. I did this, I did that, I did this, I did that. You will confess, you confess everything you've done in your lifetime. When that happens, your house will be sealed. They now take you to a sacred mountain where eventually you die. They take you to that sacred mountain. They don't bury you. They throw you there.
Oh, kind of like the evil forest concept in
Kind
the
of
culture.
Kind of. So I think every society has their own kind of deity or ancestral beliefs that puts them in a
check.
certain
Yeah.
checks and balances, if you want to call it that. Like we all know, the Abrahamic religion has its ways, days of atonement. You can do whatever you want to do. All you need to do is just kneel down and pray. You can pray 5 times and all that. But the African tradition is different. It's instantaneous when it comes to your judgment or what you have to do or the consequences you have to pay. Now, of course, it's not all vicious. It's not all unforgiving. There are sacrifices you have to do. Maybe you shave your head. You would walk around the market square for 7 days or whatever the case may be. You know,
this
it's
is
the
just for
African
women,
thing.
right?
Not for women. It goes
just
both
for
ways.
women.
You know,
It goes both ways. If you commit a crime, there are sacrifices. Now, if you take a case study across most of these similar deities or traditions or customs, there's always something you have to do. You must confess. I think African culture is big on shaming and naming and shaming. I think the whole idea is to serve as a deterrent to other people in society. So you would not want to be involved in that kind of thing. That is why the concept of going through the market 7 days on the market square day, or you do a certain thing and all of that. This gives you it exposes you to the whole community. And young people who are impressionable or people who have such ideas would not want to be in that position, because you've brought shame to your family, you've brought shame to the name, you've brought shame to whatever clan you belong to. So I think the African/Nigerian method of doing its thing is by giving you instantaneous judgment. But at the same time, it gives you levity to confess, do some sacrifices, go and buy 1 goat, and on the 7th day you cut the egg head, you take it to the priestess, and she will pray. You hear me saying she will pray, and maybe your sins will be atoned. So it is not totally against the women folk. It's just the value system the African man places on his bride, on his wife, on his women, his sister, mother. So something you love so much, you will jealously guard it and protect it. So it's just the way it is. We don't see women as, objects of our fantasy. We value them. That's why we put things in place in protecting them. And that's why it is. Yes.
I like where he's coming from.
I like where he's coming from.
Continue.
However, I feel like this is maybe his own opinion and the opinion of some men. We can't say that all of them value women. That's why they came up with some of these rules. But talking about public shaming, you're right about it being very effective, because there's this African saying that says when a madman is dancing naked in the market square, it is relatives that feel shame. So think of your relative that is being shamed for committing a great offense. So all of that will make you think and be like, okay, you know what, I won't do this, not even just for me, but also for the people who know me, who love me, and all of that. Then now, back to confession. When you were talking about confession, I was just thinking that I think sometimes it's not always guilty people that confess. Sometimes the torture and the stress, when they are torturing you, stressing you, telling you confess. Like if you confess now, your affliction will stop. You're like, let me kukuma confess. So and then some of the symptoms of Aleku are like health-related symptoms. They say your head will turn, your mouth will do this,
your hand will bend.
So what if it's stiff person syndrome you have? That thing that Celine Dion is dealing with right now.
But I don't agree with you. I don't agree with you.
Something like
it means that the frequency of this thing happens so much with the Idoma people. Then that's a pandemic.
I don't know. maybe it was a pandemic, and then maybe people had health challenges, and then they tell you that if you confess now, the pain will stop. So you didn't do anything, but they tell you that your pain will stop if you confess. Even if it's me, I'll be like, okay, let me confess and see what will happen. Yes, maybe after you confess, maybe it's not spiritual, but then the community will show you love. There's restitution, forgiveness, and they will even treat you. So of course your pain will stop. Because they've treated you.
Okay.
What I understand about the Aleku, right? It only works for those who have paid dowry, more like a commitment. And I think that commitment is spiritual with the Idoma people. It doesn't happen to if you maybe have a baby mama, it doesn't apply. But if you've done that right,
customary marriage.
Now, if you've done that, it now means that Aleku has access to you. If you now break the bond of marriage by
it's like
being,
an oath.
doing extramarital activities, the Aleku will now possess you as a spirit. That's why your neck and your mouth starts bending.
Okay.
That's the indicator
Interesting.
to show that, okay, this person must have done something.
Yeah.
Then what is required of you is to confess. Just like what I said about my own community. It's called Eho in my own community. Once somebody dies, they always go and check. Is this natural? Was his death a natural occurrence or somebody's involved? Then that spirit is not one pandemic that would befall you. The spirit will now possess you.
Oh, like
you will now start
possession.
confessing. You start confessing that, yes.
What if it's madness that has possessed
Does
you?
that mean that the occurrence
Like a
happens?
medical
So it means that
Yes,
anytime.
because they did not have
maybe
drugs or doctors.
So does this mean that?
schizophrenia? What if you have schizophrenia or one medical?
So does this mean that anytime anybody dies in that community, somebody gets this disease?
So you can't fall sick.
It's very possible
So
now.
No.
Naturally.
A
And even
marigold
doctors
cannot
to
fall sick
confirm
in
that.
Land.
They'll just be rubbing leaves and plants.
And I think another point, he said something that, okay, Aleku promotes morality.
Yeah.
And I would argue that I don't think that because the Aleku exists, people would say, or women would say, oh, I want to be a better person. They are just scared because if I do this, this thing will happen to me. So I think that's it just ignites fear in them, and everybody's in check because they are scared.
What about like that now?
What about
Without
the ones? What about the ones that even still do it even after having that
that there's
oath?
Aleku.
There's Aleku.
Maybe that's out of passion.
like feelings beyond your control.
They're like, you know what, Aleku or not, I have this passion towards you. Whatever wants to happen, let it happen.
Let it happen.
So long I satisfy my conscience. You know, the thing is, I think when we sound like this, right, when we say it's to put fear, it's because of our exposure to the Abrahamic religion. Before the Abrahamic religion, we had our own ways, and it worked for us. Before these people brought the Abrahamic religion to us, it's not necessarily to scare you or so. If you even look at the Abrahamic religion, there are so, if you like, take the Christians, for example, the Bible. The Old Testament had its very shrewd way to do things. You'll be struck instantly until maybe something happened along the line. They had some influences. The Gen Zs of that time also say, you know what, it can't happen like this and all of that. But the if you come to the African, methods and the ways, the system of belief and the ways of belief, their system generally. It's instantaneous, but it also has some setting atonement that also let your community know, because I believe strongly this saying that goes, it takes a village to raise a child, must have come from Africa. So the treatment has to also be a communal thing, such that for you to be atoned of these things, you must walk down the market square where everybody will see you on the 7th market day, so that nobody will do this. Why? Maybe our ancestors at that time maybe experienced diseases that were spread through, infidelity and all of that, and their own African wisdom way of promoting some kind of sanity was invoking these spirits. Whether we like it or not, it might not be a random sickness that comes up every 7th market day, or maybe when anybody has an extramarital affair. These spirits, they possess, they evoke these spirits, and they take bodies and entities and they manifest themselves.
I promise you, it might be malaria.
And I was just thinking, imagine in modern times, there was Aleku in Abuja, Lagos. We need help what we are going through now.
I'm sure they still practice it.
There was a time.
She means
a general thing.
But you see, everybody will brush it off because of the influence of the Abrahamic religion. My religion does not permit
Besides,
that.
God says, if I ask for forgiveness
and all of that, because everybody is scared of that instant judgment. Your mouth will bend and your neck will twist. They'll be like, it's evident this guy did this. So the Abrahamic religion has brought some kind of laxity where I can get away with everything. All I have to say is confess my sins.
And I don't think that's the best.
Well,
to me, I don't think that's the best. Public shaming, let's bring it back, please.
I'm looking at you.
I don't like your face.
I'm looking at you.
You look guilty already.
I'm not.
You don't like the idea of public shaming.
I'm not guilty. I'm just. Why?
Let's bring back shame.
But one thing is that I think that this Aleku stuff kind of still gives the Idoma people cultural identity. Even back to this time, up till now, they still have checks, balance. They've not washed it away, due to So I think
I think another thing about the Aleku thing is how the people around the woman are the ones who suffer. For example, if her husband knows that she cheated on him, but he covers the shame and he's still eating her food, he will also fall sick or die. I'm like, please, why can't the gods just kill this woman straight? Why would they kill her children, kill her relatives,
I feel
kill
like
her husband?
it's a form of punishment.
Yes.
And that whole shaming thing, like, if your wife is cheating on you, say it. Don't hide her shame. But what if me as a husband have decided to forgive my wife, cover her shame, let's live in peace?
It's
not somebody that did not marry the wife that is...
This points back to what Mr. G was saying about how African culture, it takes a village. They believe that, they say it's not individuals that get married, it's families. So if your wife cheats on you, she cheats on the family. So everybody needs to know, and she needs to seek everybody's forgiveness, not just yours.
And I think the reason why maybe the gods or Aleku would not strike the woman, instantly is because death obviously is the easy way out.
True.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's take everybody you love, feel the pain, know that this downfall, this doom that has befallen you is because of your actions. Because if you die, you're gone, you don't feel any pain. But when you are left with you being alone, losing your family members, you will feel that pain and that shame. And you'll be like, okay, and this will be like, so all of my children and my husband will die because of this. You know what? Let's just enjoy this marriage. Let's make it work. Let's work it out. If we're having issues, let's meet the council heads. They would have their wisdom to bestow on us for us to find a way on making this marriage work and all of that. So I guess that's the main reason, because trust me, death is the easiest way out.
True.
And I don't know if the concept of hell works in the Idoma system. So maybe it is designed for you to live your hell on earth.
True. I like that. Let everybody face their hell here. No escape. Now there was something else in the Aleku, something about, so when the woman is confessing, if she has up to 7 lovers, she can name them. But then if they're uncountable, then she'll throw sand. And people can actually cheat on their husbands to the point where it's uncountable and they will need...
It's too
much.
To
pour sand and be like, uncountable. Like, the women should be calming down. For that to be a ritual like that, it means there have been cases where some women
have done it.
Yes,
and
more than
another thing that, what might be responsible for this? The men might maybe they are hunters. They go into the forest for days trying to hunt for game, and maybe they go for war and they don't return, or maybe they think they are dead. 6 months later, you come back and you be like, well, I thought you were dead, and all of that.
And some cases could even be rape,
Possibly.
Yeah. So.
No, but I think if it's rape, I'm sure the Aleku would also deal, because it was not willing. You didn't do it willingly. True. So I'm sure Aleku has a whole bunch of, justice system. But the reason why we're talking about the, the adultery aspect is because it's one of the most prominent things that happens. Because if you look at most cultures, if you cheat your neighbor, there are places where if you go to somebody's farm and harvest their crop, you fall ill. In some cultures, your stomach will swell until you confess, I was the one that went to the farm, and they will do some sacrifices, and maybe the swelling will reduce and all that. So Aleku is not evil. It's supposed to protect the people and put some kind of justice system and create like a moral compass, so people just don't go around frolicking left, right, and center and doing all sorts. So that's what I think it is.
This reminds me of
talking about justice. It just kind of teaches me that even before our colonizers came, we had like our own police, our own everybody that was social justice.
And they were effective. Trust me, you wouldn't want to mess around.
This reminds me of when I was little, when we used to watch all those movies that Nollywood used to bring out. I'll confess. Apart from that, the whole babbing the woman's head when her husband dies, and then she has to drink the water
to prove her innocence.
I used to feel like, oh my God, why are you doing this? But then, now that I'm not hearing this from the Aleku point of view, I'm like, okay,
you see where they're coming from.
But from the movies, you will notice that most of them are not even guilty of those things that
in movies you have to introduce sensationalism for you to make it sell.
True.
You have to make it sensational for people to jump on board. I believe maybe that particular part that we constantly see in movies must have been, gotten from a certain culture that was brought to the silver screen that we all see. Because, in this part of the world, when anything happens, the first point of call is, who do we blame? Who is responsible?
Yes.
Okay, we suspect you because he had 20,
We suspect you
land.
because you fought with him the day
Exactly.
before he died.
So
Or maybe
therefore-
because he has money and we feel like he wants to.
Exactly.
So therefore, if you know your hands are clean, drink the water from the cup. And all of that. I'm sure because of the silver screen, maybe the narrative changed to make it more sensational, for it to be more engaging and all of that. But possibly it must have been some cultural system in a certain part in this world, maybe from the instant extraction of this country, or maybe from another part. Because in some cultures, when anything happens, the first thing you suspect everybody.
Yes.
And the process of elimination is, okay, go and swear. Go and put your hand and swear that if you are the one that you was involved in these guys, blah, blah, you die and all of that. So I think that was what it was. Nothing was just left to chance.
Yes.
Nothing was left to science. It was all spiritual. This guy fell and he died. Maybe he had stroke. The gods will be like, something must have been involved.
But what if you stress the person? So I guess you're guilty.
You can't force me to do
No,
what I don't
you're
want to
stressing.
do.
Let's say, for
I will
example,
not
now two people
swear.
are married. One person is nagging, stressing the other person. Like not being their peace in
Yeah.
quotes. And then
real.
they have high blood pressure and they die. So
And it's
the
possible,
person.
technically, you were responsible for that.
Yeah,
You're responsible.
that's what I'm saying.
So just drink the
So
water.
when the relatives say, we blame you, maybe I blame the husband or I blame the wife, but we know in such cases it's mostly I blame the wife.
The wife,
We
yeah.
hardly hear I blame the husband like that.
So there was this novel we used to read back then in secondary school. I've forgotten, but I know the man's name was Ajunubi or something. So they said in the culture, when a man dies and a hawk perches the circle, it means that the person was killed by his wife, something like that. So back to what Mr. G was saying, like, it depends on how a person died. Maybe he died like that and an ordinary bear just come and touch.
Wahala.
They not combine it together and say, so yeah.
But that's risky.
That's risky.
But for the Aleku, it possesses you, and you begin to
Confess by yourself.
And
Exactly.
it's possible that
Okay.
somebody was just passing and he saw a bed on somebody's grave and was
And
like, I think somebody killed
Maybe that's the origin of that the whole social justice scenario.
Yes. Let me look for something to make
I
them
think
kill
it
this
worked
woman.
because it brought some level of sanity.
Yeah.
If you go to a typical village, I mean a typical village with the trappings of a village, you will see that there is harmony. The compounds are swept clean. Some certain things are observed and all of that because everything had a structure that they follow. Maybe men will be the ones who pound. In some cultures, men are the ones who pounded yam.
In Idoma
And-
culture.
Exactly.
So that's something I love about their culture. So it's not all anti-women. If there is a man around,
Hallelujah.
yeah. If there is a man around, like in an Idoma compound, women should not be pounding
Oh, wow.
yam. Yes, you finish making your soup, the yam is cooked, you just go and tell your husband or your sons or your uncles, any man, Shad, you already know. It's not even a beg.
This is
So
the
you-
first time I'm hearing
Yam
you.
don't do.
I'm hearing you agree with Mr. G.
No, but these are facts because obviously
Yeah.
maybe the ancestors looked at it that pounding yam must have
Very
been a
physical.
strenuous and physical
Yes.
activity.
For women.
And
We're
let's go
just
back
girls.
to what I said. They value their women so much.
Okay, we agree.
That they didn't want them to pound that yam. So you man, go and use your strength and pound the pounded yam. And let's continue to allow Aleku do its thing in protecting our women, bringing social justice, and being the moral compass of our community. So you see that the Idoma people value their women and do not use them as an object
Okay.
with regards to the Aleku. It's
Okay.
a compass that was set in place in protecting them because of the way they value their women.
Okay.
Do you guys know something interesting about the Idoma people? We did an episode on Bayajida and Hausa origins. So technically, Idoma people are actually part of the so-called Banzabakwe because
Oh, wow.
yes, they trace their ancestry to the former Kororofa kingdom, and Kororofa was like a confederacy of different ethnic groups, including the Jukuns. So, like, they were also Banzabokwe, so to speak. But I'm sure, like, if you check their own history and their own origin stories, there's no mention of Hausa people and how
I'm even wondering how.
Yes.
Do they speak Hausa? I don't think they.
Well, they speak Hausa because they learn, but of course they have their own language, yes, and all of that. And then Idoma Land has produced a lot of great artists for us. We have African Queen crooner Two-Face, late Ada Ame. I loved her acting.
I loved her so much.
Yeah. So Idoma culture is very intriguing. We've learned a lot, and African culture, like, we have our own way of settling social justice and settling whether it's just bringing harmony in the society. And the Western eye may not understand it, but it's our way, and it's worked for us for years, for centuries. And I believe to an extent it still works, because there are some communities that still do those things and it's still working for them. So yes, you can learn new things from other cultures, add them to your own if you feel like they can serve you, but still retain aspects of your culture that are still relevant and can still bring about harmony in the society.
So at the end of the day, in closing, Aleku is not against the woman folk. He's actually there to protect the society, the community, and
but
even the
Aleku
woman.
should evolve. Let it
evolve. It should
Let
say
it
men
catch
too.
everybody.
Yes,
It
it should be equality.
I'm sure we'll have heard this song before. It's a man's world,
But it would be
but nothing without a woman or a girl.
Yes.
So it's a
On that note, culture can always evolve. Culture is not set in stone. Like, let it evolve. Let it evolve to catch everybody.
Let's
have
not be women.
Yes, let's have a punishment for the male too.
yes.
I'm very sure that if we dig deeper, we'll find something in there for the men.
We have to dig deeper, but we did not dig deeper for the animals.
Right now, like I've said before, what's speaking from you guys is the Western culture
We agree.
I am an African man.
Yes.
But are we supposed to think? Are we supposed to think?
Our worldview is
you?
from a female perspective, so we would naturally go with
Influenced by the Western world.
No. I cannot go against my nature,
Your
my
nature.
being. Like,
Why would I be in support of something that is against me?
See, like I said, unfortunately, I might sound like a broken record. Once again, it's the Western world speaking and not the African
we don't agree.
context and culture. And that's why the African culture has actually, stood the test of time. Yes, colonial influences came and changed a whole lot. Most of us were forced into the belief system we're in right now. But if you look into some cultures, like the Aleku culture, is something that must have existed since the beginning of time, and they have been true to it. And this is the true nature of what Africans are supposed to be like, keeping true to our culture, customs, and our belief system. So long live our custom, long live Africa, long live our tradition, and long live Nigeria.
Thank you. Long live the evolution of culture.